You ever tried to break your own neck just without your hands or anybody's help? Just like you don't want to like try to throw your head down on the ground or anything. That'd be cheating. You have to just kind of like. It's harder than it looks. But apparently the Joker did it, right? In The Dark Knight Returns. When he was shanking the Batman up, he was like right in between his armor. The Joker was just stabbing Batman over and over, and Batman was like, "Fuck, he's about to kill me." Snap, and he just took the Joker by the head and just snapped his neck, and the Joker was like, "Ah!" He was like, "Oh, you just paralyzed me? Man, what a bitch. You couldn't even go all the way? Well, fuck it. I'm just gonna, ah!" And with one last gasp of strength, the Joker twists his own head around and snaps his own neck the rest of the way and dies, kind of setting the Batman up as having murdered him, even though anybody would say that was self-defense, but this is Gotham City, and people don't like vigilantes. And I mean, it's kind of like the way it is in the world at large. People don't like people that step outside of the boundaries. When you've got somebody like a killer on the loose, you'll find whole communities coming together, groups of people from outside of the communities coming together like a beehive. Like everybody kind of knows we got a rotten one here, and we got to take him out, you know? It's how it is with, serial killers and stuff. Like, if we find out there's one, we tell others, and the others react, and we all react together to stop this killer. If we see a guy robbing the 7-Eleven, a lot of people will back off and not do anything. But then there are some people who will say, we got to stop this guy. Unfortunately, today we have a serious balance of people and personalities. So there is so many people that wouldn't do anything as compared to the people that would do something, which would carry a lot of weight. So, a very few amount of people that will do something about something weighs way more on a scale of equality than triple that amount of people who won't do anything. But when we're talking about quadruple, centuple, when we're talking about billions of people who won't do anything in a situation, they wouldn't step in. They say, it's not my problem, it's not my fault. As compared to the people that would step in and do something. This kind of story of my life in a way. I've stepped in and done a lot of things that I'm not quite sure I should have done. I should have probably left people alone. Should have left folks to their own devices. But I never really could do that. I always wanted to be involved and fix things that I saw. And it all stemmed from a family life, of fear and anxiety. We had an alcoholism problem in our family, which caused a lot of us to have to grow up quick, to have to protect each other, to have to step in and do things, It caused us all to be rather protective of each other as far as my sisters are concerned. I have only sisters. I don't have any brothers. I am the brothers of the family. There's none other to take that weight. I am the brother of the family, so I have so many sisters that do so many crazy things that it's I almost in a way have to hide myself, or I would have died an honor death years ago fighting off one of the many asshole boyfriends that have been involved in my sister's lives. Not to name a bunch of names and all that stuff. Not going to go all the way out there like that. But it was interesting growing up that way, though. A lot of funny things happened. I remember my sister Kelly, and I don't think she'll mind me talking her name. Uh, so many times there were situations where I was up against multiple people, uh, and she was there, and the comedy level was off the roof. So we're in Delray, and we're cutting through this alley, and all of a sudden there's four teens. Now we're like, she was probably five maybe, and I was like 6 or 7 possibly. And we're cutting through an alley that's near our house, and there was all these teens in the alley, and they had started picking on us, right? And they were like, "What are y'all doing back here? Something, something." I don't remember exactly what they said. And I remember saying, "Man, we're just cutting through. It's not a problem." And then my sister Kelly goes, "It's 2 against 1." And she like stood there like she wanted to fight. She saw that on a He-Man commercial. She saw it on a He-Man commercial for Skunkor, the He-Man figure Skunkor. There was 2 He-Men there, like He-Man and Man-at-Arms, and Skunkor's like, and they're like, "It's 2 against 1." And Skunkor's like, and he stinks. And everybody's like, get away, get away. And that's his whole thing. But here we were, 2 against 4. And my sister's Kelly, she's just like, "It's 2 against 1." And my immediate reaction, "Oh, no, it's not." Man, I was such a punk growing up, man. I was such a little bitch, man. But like, I always seemed to be involved in like things where I couldn't be. It was like my spirit was a bitch, a punk, and the powers that be were like, "You will not be a punk. You will go through this shit." One time I was at the bus stop. This was a few years later. I was about, 14 maybe, something like that. And my father had the previous night gotten into a seriously racially charged argument with the entire neighborhood, who were all African American except for my family and a Hispanic family that lived 2 buildings over. It was a garden apartment. It wasn't that big, so it's not like, a huge amount. But the whole parking lot was full of people of color, and my father was on the balcony screaming obscenities. Like, "Look at them! Look at them! They're everywhere!" I mean, oh my God. They were like, "Come on down here, buddy. Come on down here and get some." So my dad decides, I'm going to go down there and get some. And he went right in the middle of that crowd, and people started throwing punches. And I walked out there with a steak knife and just kind of pulled him away. And everybody was like, "Oh, he got a knife. He got a knife." And it got really, really hype that night. Really hype. I got my dad back inside. The police came. Nobody was arrested. But what a fucking... See, my dad was furious that a couple of the kids had stolen my bike and took the pegs off of it and put them on their bikes and left my bike back in the alleyway, just kind of trashed with all the bolts off and everything. So my dad was furious and drunk, and he was yelling at everybody in the neighborhood over it. And then they were loving it. It seemed to be a love-hate rally. Everybody was like, loved the fact that all this fucking hatred was going on. It was an insane situation. So the next morning, I have to go to the bus stop to go to school. Yep. There was about 11 other kids there, and one of the one who actually got a whipping for stealing my pegs and had to give it back to me, decided to slap my glasses off. Broke my glasses. Broke them. And I immediately fist up because I know what's going to happen. I can't back up. There's people behind me. I can't do anything, So I'm just ready to fight you, you know? And I look up in the tree and I hear, Andy! And it's Kelly standing up there like a little boxer, like a little boxing promoter. Andy, you gonna do it. You gonna get this guy. I was just like, oh shit, she's in the tree. She was in the tree, like right above us, like a troll. Looking down like, ha ha ha. And people were throwing shit up at her, but I started rumbling at that point. It took all the attention off of her, and then that guy's parents not only had to get him to give me back the pegs, but they had to buy me new glasses too. Because there was witnesses that said he knocked my glasses off my face and they broke. So that happened. I remember I was on the bus, you know, and one of the kids said something that stuck with me for the rest of my life. He said, hey, that Andy, he's a real chip off the old block. This kid was like 9. I mean, not 9, like 11, 12. Younger than me, you know what I mean? It was a pretty crazy situation, man. Kelly was just kind of around for all of these weird fight scenes in my life. I mean, shit, one time, you know, some guys were picking on her, and I called them out on the phone and told them, get over here, I'm going to handle you. And sure enough, they came in the back, and the same thing happened. I was rumbling with these guys in the backyard, and one of them, his name was Marcel. I picked him up in the air and slammed him down. It was James and Marcel were the two guys that I was fighting. And I slammed this guy, but when I had him in the air, I heard her in the background going, Andy! Like hyping me up like I was like a gladiator. And it worked. It worked too, because when I brought him down, like on that B note, that Andy, it was like, boom, bam, just slammed him, dude. So I'm sitting there just beating the shit out of him when next thing you know, I get kicked in the head with the Timberland. Now here, let me just tell you the difference. I don't know. I've never been a really big guy, but if I'm fucking hitting you, and I know how to hit, you know, and I'm hitting you right in the fucking head, and you're not like even, you're not going down, you know, and then this other guy comes, kicks me with his Timberland, and I immediately fall over. Well, what is that, man? Like, I could not break through his skull. His skull was protecting him so well. Years later, I was in jail, and I was getting booked in jail, and I heard one of the guys on the other booking station saying his address. He was like 6220 Etzel Road, and I was like, hey, that's James' address. I looked over, and it was James. The guy that I was fighting, he was going in jail when I was coming out of jail. It was pretty surreal scenario. And interestingly enough, it was almost like a precursor to what was going to happen, because I ended up getting that apartment, 6220 Etzel Road. I ended up getting that apartment like maybe a couple months later. Not that long later, I got that apartment. It's crazy the way things work out, you know. And boy, let me tell you, it's interesting having sisters. The things that they go through, it's all pretty similar. Like with this sister, it's always been guys leaving. With this one, it's always been just shit guys. And with this one, it's always been like, you need to be protected, like, big time. Then there's another sister I have who's like a half-sister who, well, I mean, there's no such thing as a half-sister, right? There's no such thing as a half-sister. I mean, She's got a different mom than us. I know about her. So, but all sisters, like I can have like a long lost brother who's like fucking like in the music scene or something. I don't know. Like, come on, what's going on here? Where's all the $100 bills? That's the thing, man. When you find something, it's always like the lowest denominator. I was out at the creek the other day and I saw a fucking money. I saw money in the water. I was like, that's money right there in the water. And I crept up on it and I crept on up. And I'll put a picture of it on the Instagram or something. But sure enough, it was $1. And the spot where it was like right where a sewer was coming out. And I just don't think it would have been worth my time. I think my time is worth a little more than $1. It would have been about 30 seconds of work, right? About 30 seconds of work. But I'd have had that wet dollar. And who knows, man, what viruses are in that water. You know what I mean? I'm not worried about coronavirus per se. I'm worried about all viruses. I'm going to wash my hands every time I need to. I'm going to wash them every time I feel like I've done something that compromised them. I don't know. Yeah, I'm worried about all kinds of viruses. So for me to say, hey, I don't believe this whole coronavirus baloney is what they say it is, then it doesn't mean, oh, he's a filthy person who doesn't clean his body. I mean, I have soap. I have a shower. I'm locked in my house. There's nothing for me to do except maintain a strict regimen of life. You know, wake up, do a little working out, sit-ups, push-ups. It's all necessary to do that stuff, you know. Shower. You know, I actually have been showering more often than ever. And people have been staying inside more often than ever. And guess what's happened? You know, the flu, it's dying down. It's not just, you know, the coronavirus, but the flu. Let's just say that the numbers are kind of skewing into each other, and we don't know what's what anymore. Okay? Because is everybody getting the coronavirus and nobody's getting the flu anymore? Nobody's getting the flu anymore? That's just the level we're at now? I don't know. I don't feel like I'm going to get the flu this year because I think everybody's been staying in their houses and everybody's been like not coming outside. And I know I'm not going to get the coronavirus because I have toilet paper. And as we all know, toilet paper stops the coronavirus. Obviously, right? Toilet paper is the key. I don't know. I stopped using toilet paper 5 years ago. And I have not had swamp ass since. I've not had a skid mark in my underwear since then. All you people who, like, you know, find laundry to be a dirty task because it's like, ew, I have to touch my dirty underwear. Your underwear is only dirty because you are. If you wash your ass every time you shit, you won't have any of those problems, man. None of them. Even if your ass crack sweats from intensive heat, which sometimes it will, it won't be mixed with shit, and you won't get the septicemia, which causes the rash, diaper rash. You know, you don't want that, you know? Or what is it, septicemia? I can't remember exactly what it is. But you don't want your sweat mixing with your dookie because it's going to cause your rashes to be all goopy. And then your face is going to be all droopy and moopy because I don't want to walk anymore because my butt crack is sore. I just want to sit on the floor and spread my butt cheeks some more. Has this been a stupid episode or What? Anyway, I enjoy talking about my family life, even though it's so freaking crazy, man. A lot of stuff goes on with that girl. I'll save my other sisters for another episode. Talk about them crazy ones. Them crazies. Because let me tell you, man, it's like living with 3 pit bulls that just run around. And they be biting the shit out of each other. But when you show up, it's like, hey, what up? I'm your friend. Yeah, we all cool. We all cool. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. That's how it is all the time. Everybody loves to see me. I know it's probably just because of my sheer sexual nature. And I think a lot of people need to understand that, because sexual relations with lots of different people would be inappropriate. Like people's moms, family members, cousins, work associates. You know, we don't need them thinking all kinds of like, you know, sweaty thoughts about you, nasty dirties. We don't need them on there thinking all those dirty bird thoughts, getting those little picture movies of pornos going on in their heads about you when they're supposed to be just going to work. And then they don't want to work with you because they can't stop thinking porn about you. They can't stop triple Xing your life and everything you say. You know, you walk in and you're like, hey, how's it hanging? And they really just go the opposite way with that. You know what I mean? You go in and you say, hey, I'm open to anything. And, you know, she looks at you as if, you know, she's open to anything. You're my son's teacher. This conversation really went, really went, didn't it? Where did it went? I don't know where it went, but it went quick. It's just the way things happen, you know. Sorry about that. I don't know, because I don't want to change the subject. I just wanted to keep talking about family and stuff, but next thing you know, I'm talking about sex and everything. That's like incestuous, right? You know. Well, I don't see if anybody has a problem if I talk about like weird craziness. I mean, I'm sure y'all want to fuck your moms and dads and stuff, right? Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't want to just pile on? We'll have a big old family reunion, and we'll make sure that we got the right kinds of cameras to get all that HD footage. Jesus fucking Christ. Who made me? Who made me? I don't even know who made me anymore, man. Was it mom and dad, or was I made in some kind of asylum out of like extra crazy people parts? That's what I think happened. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed hanging in there with me, and I hope that you just hung up at some point and didn't listen anymore, because it got bad. It got really bad. Anyway, next episode, I'm going to talk to you about Landmark Mall. Alright? And that's going to be that. Have fun. Didn't work. It didn't work. I'm stuck here. I tried to push the stop button.